What's going on, everybody? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty good myself. So this video here, we put together just a few tips and some things that I've learned along the way of playing Dune Awakening that I want to share with you in the hopes that, you could help out your gameplay, maybe some cool ideas that you might come across, or help with some issues that you might be having. We're going to cover things like inventory management. We're going to talk a little bit about some combat. And we're also going to talk about base building and productions. And it's just ways designed to make everything run smoother so you can focus on what you really want to do, whether that's getting spice or doing testing stations or going out into the deep desert, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. We're going to do several of these. Some will be more advanced than others. This probably will be very helpful to new players and newish players. But even if you've got some time under your belt, this could have some helpful information. So we'll give it a watch here, and we'll see what we can do. But without messing around any much longer, why don't we go ahead and get going? The first thing I want to talk about is my standard backpack. So when I head out there, I like to stay out as long as I possibly can, come back with all the resources I could gather. And in order to do that, I have this standard loadout I carry with me. So I carry a little bit of Solari, just 20,000 or so, in case I buy something. My weapons use both light and heavy darts, so I like to carry at least 700 of each one before I head out. I also grab a full spool of welding wire for any repairs that I might have to do while I'm out there. And I've started carrying a respawn beacon. That's in case we go out to the deep desert or go somewhere that might take a while. That way we don't have to leave our ornithopter out as a respawn point, and we can protect it from damage from any kind of storms. As far as healing goes, I have mainly a Mark IV pack, and then I use the toilet papers for when I'm on fire or poisoned. And I carry just a basic welding torch Mark V. Now, I know some people get mad because of all the red you see here, but honestly, I'm going to use it till it breaks, keep it as a backup. Speaking of backups, I always carry an extra suspensor belt and an extra power pack in addition to the ones that I have. It just irritates me when I'm out there doing a mission and all of a sudden it pops up and says, "Oh, your suspensor belt's about to break." And I'm like, well, that's great. So normally I would have to go back home and grab a new one, but carrying this extra one, I can finish what I'm doing and then kind of head back on my own. I bring along the construction tool, just usually have it. I never carried the handheld resource scanner, but some of these new missions require you to have it. And the first time I had to go back and get one kind of irritated me, so I carry it now all the time. In case we're going to head into some place with radiation, I like to bring a radiation suit. I usually carry this everywhere I go. And I also bring 2 fuel cells. Just in case we, need to refuel while we're out in the wild. I also like to bring my still suit along just in case, and I usually have it full. The catch pockets are full. And then I bring a little bit of salvage metal because some of these missions you have to fabricate something before you could start. Nice to have it on hand. I use a melee weapon, a sword, a scatter gun, a sniper rifle, and then that triple shot rifle. And I keep them all on those same buttons. That way it's real easy to remember, and muscle memory, I can cycle through them as I need to. We got a leader John, of course, and I've got I got my backup tool. But these 3 spots are kind of intermixing. The cutter usually stays on 8, but these 2 I'll switch out if I need the welding tool or the scanner or whatever. So they're kind of flexible. Anything I need to pop in real quick, I'll do it in that. But the rest of these, the 1 through 5, stay the same. And then, of course, I have my regular gear. But this is what I use just like a standard to be able to go out, do what I want to do without any interruption, as long as I can stay out there. This is just over the process of going out and having to turn back around because of something. So come up with your own standard loadout on what you want to bring out there, and you'll see the bases that I covered and why I did what I do. Maybe you don't need heavy darts or you don't need light darts, so you can skip that portion. Now, also, you got to keep in mind that I've got the skill advancements, so I've got like 300 volume with the 55 slots. You may have to adjust it depending on where you're at as far as skill specializations and if you've picked up any of the extra spaces or not. But come up with something standard that you can navigate through real quick, real easy. That'll help out a lot. Next, we're going to talk about what you should wear. This is something I see a lot in chat and in forum posts and comments about should you wear still suits, should you wear armor? That all boils down to one question. Are you getting shot at, or is someone trying to stab you? So you ask yourself that question. If the answer is no, then I'd suggest you wear a still suit because you're most likely compacting either flour, sand, or spice. Maybe you're building, like you're building a deep desert base or you're making changes to it. If no one's actively trying to hurt you, the only thing that's trying to hurt you is the sun. So wear the still suit. I see people who say, never wear a still suit. I always wear the armor. But those are the people who buy things instead of actually getting them themselves. So if you're going to head out on the sand, I would suggest that you should wear the still suit. I've actually downed myself several times building a deep desert base because you could see here, you don't see the warning. It is down there on the left-hand side, and it'll start flashing, but I tend to get a little too focused on what I'm building and what I'm trying to do, and I kind of forget to pay attention to it. So just for safety's sake, if no one's shooting at you, go ahead, pop that still suit on. Now, it's one less thing that you have to worry about. Now, if someone is trying to shoot you or stab you, definitely wear armor. And that comes to the next question is, should you wear light armor or should you wear heavy armor? This comes down to personal preference and your play style. So the only real answer is going to be something you have to come up with. If you look here, you'll see this is the light armor, and look at this section right here is what we want to pay attention to. It's got an armor value. That ability cooldown is because it's a special type, but that dash stamina cost is something that's important. If you tend to be a little guily and you like to dodge, you like to maneuver, that dash stamina is going to help out. Whereas you see with this heavy armor, even though it's got more armor value, you're actually getting a penalty for your dash. That kind of makes sense if you think about it. The heavier armor, the less mobile you're going to be. So it comes down to a question of your play style. How do you want to play this game? Do you want to be, dodging? Do you want to dash a lot? Do you want to get in there with some melee? Or would you rather just tank that damage and just kind of bully your way through? There's no right or wrong answer. So, it's your play style. And keep in mind that each piece, these are all cumulative. So if it's -4 dash or +4 dash or whatever, for each piece, then by the time you're done, it's going to be +16 or so. So, and you can mix and match. You don't have to wear a full set of armor. You can pop them in and out. And the still suit chest piece, the main garment, is what holds the water. So you don't even have to wear the other stuff. I usually wear still suit or soft step boots with my still suit because, like I said, I'm out there usually compacting. So getting that worm threat is definitely high on the list as far as a bonus goes. So I'll substitute these light armor soft step boots when I'm wearing my still suit for the actual still suit boots itself. One thing to point out, though, if you're going to an area that has radiation, you're definitely going to need to wear a radiation suit. Radiation will kill you quickly, and it doesn't even argue with you. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. So let the NPCs help you. I see a lot of comments, and a lot of people will say to me, like, oh, I don't use these weapons because I'm just not good at it, or I can't figure it out. I don't like it. This usually goes around melee. So what you want to do is, you'll see here I'm going into slaver territory. This is a couple tiers, the aluminum, steel, iron, those tiers. This is a couple back from where I am. And these guys can't hurt me. I mean, they're going to try, but... So we're going to find a camp here. Oh, yeah, we didn't agree there. I'm going to kill this guy, and I'm going to let these two sort this out. And... Okay, good. So now I'm going to draw this person out into the open, and I'm going to practice countering their stabs and working on my dash to get the timing down. Even if I let them just continuously attack me, you'll see that it barely scratches me. So it takes that stress out of the situation and allows me to just focus on how do I get this timing down? How can I parry this attack and then be able to follow up? Now, I'm not doing the heavy attack to go through their shield and kill them because all I want is that initial parry like that right there. And this way you can learn your timing, learn your maneuvering, get your dashes in, and you'll start to recognize what their attack method is or kind of the tells that they have. Like you'll notice now they're not actually attacking me. It's because of the little spiral stuff that you saw a second ago. Now he's coming back at me and we'll dodge. But this way you can practice on getting better with a weapon. If you want to use like the rapier, it's different than the regular sword. The kinjals and the burning blades, they're also different. So anytime you want to learn a new weapon, just go a couple tiers back and find an NPC camp, eliminate anybody with guns, and then you can just stand here as long as you don't do that finishing move. You can do this as long as you want until you learn that timing and you start feeling comfortable with it. This way, when you go into some of the heavier grade situations where the enemies are a whole lot stronger, you're better prepared and you understand how to do this. So let these old NPCs help you out, and you'll definitely notice an improvement in your abilities. Here we're going to talk about production organization, and this is basically in your base how you lay things out. I like to try to be as organized as I can. Let's take a look at our medium chemical refinery. Now this thing makes 3 primary materials. It makes silicone blocks, cobalt paste, and then strontium fiber. Everything else that it makes is kind of like a usage item or a support item, but these are the main 3 that it does. So behind it, I've got these 3 boxes, and in this one, I've got flour sand for the silicone blocks. The middle box is going to have ethereite storage. That's for the cobalt paste. And then, of course, you guessed it, the last one's going to be the strontium mass. So the items that go in this machine, I have on the same floor and right across from it. So that way, whenever I'm making this stuff, I know where the materials are going to be and where to put them when I come back. Right next to the machine, I've got silicone and then cobalt paste. Excuse me. And the last box that we needed would be the strontium fiber. And that's in this one. It's not as bulky, so it gets a smaller box. But that way, the stuff that goes in this machine and what comes out is all on the same floor. Now, I use spice infused cells. I don't use low-grade lubricant, but I do use the industrial. And fuel cells for vehicles, I usually keep them next to the vehicle. So I needed boxes for those 2 items. And over here in this little small section, you'll see there's industrial lubricant, and here's the spice cell. So keeping everything together is a good idea. That way you can just stay organized. But I have one extra box here that I call the MCR overflow. That's medium chemical refinery overflow. And if you look inside it, well, it should be. It better be empty. Yeah, it's empty. But the reason I call this an overflow is you'll notice that I have it set to a specific circuit. There's 8 different circuits, and there's 2 headings. This one is basically where does this input from? What the materials are coming from what circuit? And then the other one on the other side is the output circuit. Where does stuff go? It doesn't make that much sense when you're looking at a box. But when you look at a machine, it's going to kind of get cleared up here. So my MCR, I've got it set to receive materials from circuit 1, which is what I have everything else on the base set at. So circuit 1 can pull from almost any box, but it outputs only to a box that's on circuit 6. So let's say I made a whole bunch of these, tons and tons of silicone blocks, and it filled up the storage spaces within the machine itself. Once it's full, it's going to look for another box on circuit 6, and it's going to start putting all the excess items in there. And I have one box in my entire base that's set on 6, and it's that one right there. So if I make a bunch of stuff, say I go off and I start getting involved in something and I don't come back for a while, I come back and this machine's storage is completely full. I don't have to go looking. I know anything it made excess went right into that box. Instead of this one, that one, something upstairs, something downstairs, who knows where it is. And that used to happen in the early days where it would overflow and I had no idea where it went. And then suddenly I'd open a box and be like, why is this in here? It's like, oh, now I remember. And we're going to come downstairs here and we're going to look at the large ore refinery and we'll set this one up to do the same thing. As you can see, they come naturally circuit one, but I also have a large ore refinery overflow box. And this one's set for 5 and then 8. So inputs from 5 and it outputs to circuit 8. I'm going to switch both of them just so they're both on circuit 5. And now I'm going to go turn this machine in the storage section to output to circuit 5. So this way, same thing. If I make too much of something or a whole bunch of it, it's going to go into that box and I don't have to run around looking for it. It's going to save you some time and headaches. Now we're going to talk about water. Probably one of the most common questions I see about people is they'll say, what's the best way to get water? Where can I get water? What should I do? When you first start playing this game, you're going to be in the salvage products and the copper products. And in copper, you get like your basic scavenger still suit, a very small leader John, and then eventually you'll be able to get a water cistern. It's very small; it's only 5,000, but you'll be taking blood from your enemies and putting them in that blood refiner and putting it into that cistern. Once you get to iron products, you're going to get a better extractor. You're going to get a dew reaper, which allows you to get more than just that first bar from flowers. You just swipe it across them. Best to do just before daybreak. You're going to get an improved blood purifier, which just means it works a little faster and a little more efficient, but you'll also get a medium blood sac. So at this point, you're still kind of using flowers and your enemies. Once you get to steel, you're going to get your first Fremen death still. There's quite a few good things here, but you get your first Fremen death still, which you can kill somebody and you put their entire body in. It takes an hour for it to process, but it immediately dumps 25,000 milliliters of water into your storage tanks. Always make sure you've got storage tanks. Doesn't matter how much you can make if you can't hold it. You're also going to get access to wind traps, which you have to make some filters in your survival fabricator, but you can put filters in these guys. And this is a passive style of water collection. It takes water from the atmosphere at a very slow rate, but it runs constant. Even if you turn the game off, go to sleep, go to work, go to school, whatever you're doing, when you come back and turn the game on, however much time has passed, it will be gathering water that entire time. So it's a passive one. It's not very fast, but it's always running as long as you make sure that you've got filters in them to keep them running. And then, of course, you're also going to get a, not too big, but a larger cistern for storage. The medium holds 25,000 water, which makes sense because, death still's dropping in. When you go to aluminum, you don't get any better machinery, but you do get better items. Like you get the decaliter John, you get the stronger Mark IV variants. You also get this, a dew scythe, which is just a much larger dew reaper. Covers a greater area in a single swipe. And you're going to get a larger blood sac. So you're still kind of doing the same thing you were in steel. You're just doing it a little bit better. But once you get down to duraluminum, you're going to pick up some good advancements. You're going to get the advanced death still. It works a little bit faster, but it makes almost twice as much. You're going to get a large water cistern that holds 100K. And you're going to get the large version of the wind trap. This is the same setup. You have to put filters in it, but once you put a filter in, it's just going to keep running as long as it's got that good filter. And they do wear out. It's kind of like a fuel, and it just runs the whole time. And then finally in plastanium, you pretty much just the same setup as aluminum. You just get more advanced versions of what you already have. They're just more efficient. You can use them. So that's the different ways that you generate water. Taking it from flowers, taking it from blood, putting people in death stills, or taking it out of the air. And when people ask what's the best way to get water, I think the best answer is all of them. I don't rely personally on just one method to get water. I got to be honest, I couldn't tell you the last time I pulled water from flowers. I don't use the reapers or the scythes. I do have them, and it is an option if I needed it. But the main thing that runs my base is I have these 3 large wind traps, and on the other side of the hangar behind us, there's a little outcropping, and I've got 3 more. So I've got 6 total of these guys, and like I said, I love it because once I turn them on and, I quit the game and go to bed or do whatever, these things are still running, so I'm always gathering water. Yes, it's a tiny little bit, but it's always running. In the event that, let's say, I have to make a whole bunch of a product, um, here in this room in my base, I've got a big line of the cisterns. Excuse me again. And my total water right now is just above, a little bit above 3 million milliliters, as you can see there. So I've got quite a bit. But if I get into a pinch where I'm suddenly desperate for water, I've got all these blood machines sitting here. So here's my blood extractors. And then on the other side, I've got 8 death stills. And I've already got a box sitting here full of enemies that I've killed and collected. And then in this box over here, I've got a whole bunch of blood sacks that I've already filled up when I was collecting all those people we just saw. So if I need a ton of water, I have the ability to, not only do I have 3 million stored, but I could turn on the death stills, throw some people in there. I could throw those blood extractors, get those things running. That I think is the best way to get water. Never fully abandon a method, but just continue to increase, and spending those points, intel points, is totally worth it. This next tip is the scariest thing in Dune for me. Yeah, it is terrifying. This is the recycler. For the most part, you look at this thing and you say, okay, well, it just breaks down equipment and breaks it down into, base materials, which, yeah, technically is true. But there's some hidden secrets about this thing. The first thing I want to point out is anything in your backpack can go in this. It doesn't ask questions. You click on that button and it tears it apart. So I always leave mine off, and I've also created this little box setup over here. This one's the trash bin. So anytime I get something that I want to recycle, I'll put it over here and I'll recycle a whole bunch of stuff at one time. I don't do it as I'm playing. So this is just a bunch of different items that I've collected. And then here I have a box called Safety Shelf, and it's always empty, but I can take all of the stuff out of my backpack and put it in this Safety Shelf box. We'll go ahead and do that here in just a second. This way, everything that I want to keep, I don't have in my backpack to accidentally queue up to be destroyed by that recycler. We're going to head back to it now, and you see there's nothing on the left, no recyclable items at all. Again, excuse me. So we're going to come over here and we'll grab a few things. And you don't really know what these items are going to give you until you head over to the recycler for them. And some items will give you a surprisingly good amount of stuff back if you were to break them down, instead of just, I don't want that, and dropping it. Let's go ahead and, well, no, we won't turn it on. But see this here? I've also picked up 100 plasteel. I can get 2 plant fibers from each one of those. Here's some advanced Servox. This young Sparky is good. I'm going to get some slag and some infused duraluminum dust. Anytime you break up a purple thing, you're bound to get some pretty good stuff from it. There's some carbide scraps are coming out of here, some insulated fabric. And these are all things that I just kind of found. Well, that young Sparky I was using, but we're going to turn this on. And now, because I don't have anything that I'm afraid of losing, we can go ahead and just click the button all day long. I usually like to start at the bottom because for some reason, the recycler puts the items that it gets over there back in, like you can see there's that insulated fabric and the micro sandwich fabric, and it puts it up at the top. So I just start at the bottom, and then once I start seeing those weird things, we'll scroll down a little further. And we'll go ahead and, yep, that's fine. We'll get rid of this, get some capacitors, and some Servox. So these are just, some basic items. What I really like about this is I'm going to go ahead and move that up, and we got 12 of these from breaking some other things. I'm going to leave this stuff right here. But when we go to this, boop, right there, because my skill advancements in crafting and stuff, I can get 2 plant fibers for every single one. You can recycle an item or an entire stack. And now I've got 224 plant fibers just from an item that I would normally not bring home. I would just be like, oh no, I got a bunch of them, I don't need them. But you can break them down into some better stuff. This is for filters, for decorations, for medical kits. So your recycler can actually break down quite a few things into some useful stuff for you. And I like the setup to keep everything nice and happy and safe. And once we're done, we just head back over to the safety shelf and we pick everything else back up just like normal. It just keeps us from doing something stupid. Well, that's going to be it, folks. Just a couple tips and some advice on ways to better your experience while you're playing Dune. I'm actually going to do a series of these. Some things are going to get a little more advanced. Some will be basic like these guys were. But yeah, just trying to share some of the experience and the knowledge that I've accrued and through hardship, we'll say, in playing some Dune Awakening. So thank you very much. Appreciate it and hope this video helps. Like, subscribe, share. All those things help the channel. We're growing every day and it's super awesome. So thank you very much. And as always, I'll see you out there. Take care.